Live. And I know it's working, Alice. I can see it.
Oh, good.
Here we go. Good evening, Texas bikers across the nation and the world. This is Texas Biker Radio. My name is Mel Popeye Moss, and my guest tonight on this program is Alice Linahan. And Alice, I'm going to let you start out by letting you tell people a little bit about yourself and also about the organizations that you work with in your endeavors. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I'm just honored and excited to be on with you. And I think what you're doing is important. We've got to let people know what's going on. And I am first and foremost a mom of 3 children. And I got into the grassroots organizing several years ago and got to meet you, Mel, and started working with an organization called Women on the Wall. And we really cover 3 key areas: immigration, national security, and education, and how they intertwine. And so that I've been working with Women on the Wall and Rebecca Forrest for about 10 years now. And my area of expertise, if you will, or my wheelhouse, is in education and the fundamental transformation of education occurring that we see today, and what's coming into our children's classrooms, and how it intersects with immigration and national security, because we are globalizing our nation and we are losing our sovereignty, and they're taking us down from within. And so I've been working to try to educate people on what's going on. I started a website years ago that I used to create content and get information out, and that's called Voices Empower, EMPOWER.com. And I speak around the state and the country trying to educate people. And if people are interested, they can go to Voices Empower and find my full presentation and PowerPoints and links and articles and documentation. Whenever I'm speaking to groups, I always tell them, please go out and try to prove me wrong. I would love to be wrong. And I've been doing this 10 years, and there hasn't been one person who's been able to completely, I haven't always been on the same page or right about things, but I've always been about finding the truth and exposing the truth. And when I've been wrong, I will humbly submit that I am wrong. Unfortunately, I've been right.
Yeah, but we do the same thing. If we find out we made a mistake, we own it. The same
Right.
thing. But you know, you and I met years ago, back in the Tea Party days. Uh, and I always tell everybody, you know, the Tea Parties were started over overspending. That's what it was all about. That's what it was all about. And
Right.
then it developed into more than just overspending. It was over just a little bit of everything, including what's happening in our schools. And so back then, I remember back then, what was it? It was Common Core, and what was the one here in Texas? Was there
C-scope.
C-scope? Right.
C-scope.
Is
Yeah.
that still
And that was
around?
one of the well, it is. It's just morphed. They just keep rebranding. Like they rebranded Common Core. They say we don't have it in Texas, but we do. It's just called College and Career Readiness. And
Okay.
C-Scope was basically a curriculum management system that was kind of the precursor. We were Common Core before Common Core was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Texas was the pilot of it.
Really?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We were the pilot. Our Bill Gates very early on funded the TEA, the Texas Education Agency, and TASA, the Texas Association of School Administrators, giving them millions and millions of dollars to bring technology into the classroom to get us where we are today. That started early 2000s. Gates was funding our education system.
Right. Let me tell you, you're a wealth of information. And what I want to ask you now is Texas schools now, what's happening?
Yes. Well, I'm working with a group of parents and organizations across the state who are looking at the November State Board of Education meeting, where they will be set to approve instructional materials for our health classes. And I bring that up because we've had teams of people who are looking at the curriculum and the instructional materials. And my group lead, I'm the group lead, and we are looking at the publishers and what their agenda is. And all the CRT, critical race theory, all of that is flooding into our schools through our instructional materials. And I want to give people a little history lesson because I think it's important to understand why what's happening in Texas is happening. Back, and I could be getting my years wrong, but Texas passed a bill, Senate Bill 6, and I don't know if you remember back in the day, Mel, when Thomas Ratliff came after me trying to sue me because I was being too loud educating people. But he was on the State Board of Education at the time and a paid lobbyist for Microsoft. And he was fundamental in getting Senate Bill 6 passed. And what it did, because Texas used our permanent education fund to purchase textbooks. And because we as a state purchased so many textbooks, what the state of Texas did, that's usually what the rest of the country did, because
Right.
we controlled the publishing companies because we are purchasing. Well, what Senate Bill 6 did is it said that that permanent education fund could now be used for online digital curriculum and instruction and professional development for teachers to bring in this online curriculum. So that opened up, and it said that our the instructional materials only had to cover 50% of the TEKS, which are the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Standards. All that to say, that opened up the door for Common Core, college and career ready instructional materials to flood in.
Wow.
Now, what you have to understand, what Common Core is, and what college and career readiness standards are, which are mandated by the federal government and implemented by the state, it is a shift away from teaching academic knowledge, reading, writing, math, and history, to values, beliefs, behaviors. And so when you have instructional materials that are no longer focused on, does Johnny know 2 plus 2 is 4, but focused on how Johnny feels about 2 plus 2 being 4, and a word problem to show that, where Johnny's got 2 mommies or 2 daddies. So we have to understand how they're getting it in. You know, when the standards that the state are mandating are behavioral, and they're pushing what's called, and people start hearing this term if they haven't already, SEL, which is social and emotional learning, that's mandated by the state. When you look at the instructional materials, and this is what we're doing right now with these teams, is we're looking at these instructional materials, and they are the particular ones that are coming up in November for the State Board of Education are for health classes. And the sex ed is basically grooming students. They're psychologically profiling students. They're promoting risky behaviors. They're systematically separating students from parents, making the curriculum, their online instruction. And so they're digital and they're adaptive. So a student, the algorithms basically groom students and nudge, that's the term they use, nudge students towards an outcome. And so when you shift the focus of education away from facts and figures and knowledge to beliefs, values, beliefs, and behaviors, it's just a matter of whose values, beliefs, and behaviors. And that can be found in who's writing the algorithms, because an algorithm is an opinion written into code.
Right.
And so when you now have instructional materials that are nudging and adapting and modifying students' values, beliefs, and behaviors, it's not shouldn't surprise anyone that we see what we see in our youth today when we understand what's happening. And, and it's Texas is a target. Texas is in full force, and it's being implemented by Republicans and Democrats alike.
That's exactly right. And of course, through 2020, we've seen the end of their product that they're putting out. The kids' behaviors in the streets across the nation. But let me ask you this: how hard is it to get these politicians to listen when you got Bill Gates and Zuckerberg and all these guys throwing money at them? Is that tough or what?
Tough, and I'll tell you what, the Trojan horse in all of this is school choice. That is the solution that the politicians, and especially on the Republican side, are promoting. They say, oh, well, we just need school choice. Well, that is so false.
Really?
Because it is completely false. Now, let me explain it this way. As a mom, I do not get the right to educate my children the way that I see fit from the state and federal government. That is an inalienable right that I have been given by God, and it is my responsibility. By saying that I need the state and federal government to pass laws to regulate my choices means that I'm handing my rights over to the state as a parent to educate my children.
Right.
And so when you understand that federal and state laws have already been passed to lock in place the college and career readiness standards, school choice is just the gateway for the state and federal government to get to our private schools and our home schools. It's when they take the money, they say school choice vouchers, money should follow the child. We don't want our tax dollars going to the public schools. We want it to follow the child. So what do? You're just federalizing your private schools.
Right.
When you take the money, you take the mandates of college and career readiness standards, which are behavioral standards, which are assessing you. And let me give you another word of warning and kind of blow people's mind, but we're now lifelong learners.
Right.
So our education system is no longer kindergarten through 12th grade, where you graduate in 12th grade and you're free. You're free to go to a vocational path. You're free to go to college. You're free to go and then change your mind and go a different path. That was our education system in the past that created the greatest economy in the world and created innovation and opportunity, because you graduated from high school and you had an equal opportunity at success in life. You weren't guaranteed it, but you had equal opportunity. What we have now, it's called a P20W system. Preschool through the workforce education system, through the workforce. So what that means is that when you go to get that plumber's certification, when you go to get that license, when you go to do any type of continuing education, you now come under the mandates of college and career readiness standards, which are assessments assessing your behaviors, assessing your values. And when you do not comply with the state's values, beliefs, and behaviors, you don't get that job. You don't get to move on. And it is about control, control, control. And now, in the state of Texas, at the end of 8th grade, each child has to decide what they want to be when they grow up, and we're just going to educate you down this career path.
Right.
This is the Soviet model, and we are fully implementing it in the state of Texas, and we are fully implementing it across the nation.
Wow. That is eye-opening. But even they never stop. They never stop, because we still, do you remember the word, the nudge?
Yes.
They do that through social media. They do it through television. I mean, they never stop the nudge.
Yes.
And trying to control us and make us think a different way. And
that's why you see this blow up right now with the Biden administration and this designating parents as domestic terrorists going to school board meetings. It's not surprising that they would want to control those school boards.
Alice, I have always said, and that goes back to the Tea Party days when I don't know if you remember Chuck Smith over in Burleson.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The school board came after them when they were complaining about the school board, using city-owned equipment, I guess, and school board equipment on their personal properties. And so
Right.
they had them dead to right, but then they sent a battery of lawyers after them. And then so
Right.
now what we see, it shouldn't be surprising because school boards can be the most dangerous of all government entities. And now we're seeing it
Yeah.
play out big time.
Big time.
Big
You know,
time.
it's interesting. I have a video of Bill Ayers, and I'm sure you remember who Bill Ayers
Yeah.
was back in the 60s. When he wasn't successful taking down our nation through violent means, he went into academics and into the teaching colleges
Uh-huh.
and to community organizing. And he said, I have a video of him saying it. He says, um, the way that we control is not trying to reach the people that we don't have direct access to, the president, senators, congressmen.
Right.
Go directly to the people we have access to, city councils,
Yes.
mayors, and school boards. And we take over that. And that's how we get control. And when you look at what's happening in Texas, we had TASA, the Texas Association of School Administrators, work with TASB, the Texas Association of School Boards, to implement this new vision for public education. All that was funded by Bill Gates.
Wow.
And they have been fully implementing it. And a part of our tax dollars goes through our public schools to pay for our school board members and superintendents to be a part of these trade organizations. And these trade organizations are funded with our tax dollars, but then they are used to lobby
Yeah.
against us
Right.
to implement this new vision for public education, which is a fundamental transformation away from academics to the behavioral. And their commodity is the data and our children.
Yeah.
And it is a $1 trillion global industry.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So these associations of school superintendents and all these people, they profit off of all this stuff, don't they?
Well, they do. You've got Mike Moses and Bill Ratliff, Thomas Ratliff, all of the Texas. Those are the Texas names. But yes, they have been profiting off of this and made millions for years. You know, and I am not as well versed as my friend Lynn Davenport. She would be a great person to have on your show. She's got a podcast herself, but she's done a lot of deep dive into the money and the public-private partnerships.
Right.
And they're called social impact bonds. It's a whole talking about going down a rabbit's hole and just finding all kinds of scary stuff.
Yeah.
But it's happening. There is so much money to be made off education and to be made off the poor.
Right.
And the so-called economically disadvantaged and illegal immigrants and our illegal aliens, and there's just so much money being made. And if I didn't believe in God and that there was a bigger power and that He's in control, I don't know that I would be able to know what I know and just not be going crazy, because I am
know.
going crazy.
Hey, you've got to be able to hang. You've got to be able to hang, because this stuff is slow. Victories are slow in coming. You've got to be able to hang, and we've definitely learned that. But let me let me ask you this, because I remember the movie Waiting for Superman, and that is always stuck in my mind. But for the black community, has are they being taken advantage of, or is anything
Oh,
any better?
yes.
What's the deal there?
No. Well, it's really interesting because one of the key timestamps, if you will, on this transformation was in 1965 when federal money came back to the state to teach minorities and economically disadvantaged children how to read. That was called the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. It was like 45 pages long, and it was to teach minorities how to read because we had a problem.
Right.
Back in 1965, the marriage rate between black couples was higher than white couples. The family and the community and the churches in the black communities was so strong in the 1960s. And then government came in
Yeah.
with money. And one, they cannot read, but now it's not only black children, it's white children, it's all of our children.
Right.
The reading level has just plummeted since 1965.
Right.
And the marriage rate between blacks, because what it did is it neutered the black man. When
Right.
the government came in and took control of the family, it created chaos in the family.
Yeah.
And what happened is, your streets, it truly was racist. It
Right.
was segregation. It has destroyed the black family, and I believe it is because of the federal intervention. And that bill that was passed in 65 was reauthorized in 2001 under Bush and called the No Child Left Behind Act.
Right.
And then it was reauthorized again in 2015, and it was 1,065 pages long, and they didn't read it until after they passed it because they had to pass it before they read it.
Oh yeah.
And now it's called the Every Student Succeeds Act. And that's what mandates the college and career readloudon behavioral standard.
All right. Let me ask you: with is Loudon, Virginia, is that a gift to us or what? I mean, is it is
Yeah.
it pointing out everything that's wrong?
Yes.
Everybody's getting
You
a good
know,
dose of it, right?
good dose of it. I'll tell you what, there is, and truly, as everything I've been talking about, it's pretty overwhelming. It's like I spoke the other day, and someone said listening to you is like drinking from a water hose or
Yeah.
a fire hose. But my prayer and what I see happening is that it is so in our face. People are standing up. People that thought we were crazy, Mel, 10
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah.
are now saying, oh, maybe those people aren't so crazy. And so I am on the phone all the time. I just went to a private school yesterday and met with the director of innovation and 3 parents pushing back and wanting to get iPads and digital learning out of the classroom, out of the
Yes.
schools. And they're willing to fight, and they're banding together. You see what's happening in South Lake. South Lake is, those parents are on fire, pushing back. And we've got 2 really great school board members that have come on board in South Lake, and they're willing to toe the line. So I think it is a gift. I think that parents are waking up, and through alternative media like this show, like my friend Lynn's podcast. People are not necessarily, the news is so fake, and people are seeing it, I think, and they're hungry for the truth, and I don't watch Fox News anymore. I
Yeah.
know who I get my information from, trusted sources, and that's who I go to on a daily basis. And so, and then I do the research myself. Um, and so I think we're at a crossroads, and I think people are waking up. I think, you know, Virginia is a wake up call. Frankly, I think Biden is a wake up
Oh,
call.
you know what? That is for sure. That,
Yeah.
that is for sure. I can promise you that's correct. And let me ask you, what do you think about Pay RJ here in Arlington?
About
You
who? I don't know about
pay PAY RJ.
pay.
Yeah, let me tell you about this in case you don't know.
I
There's
don't know.
there's a contractor here in Arlington that did some work for the schools. They
Uh,
they are refusing to pay him the money owed. He did like $1 million worth of work, and they're telling him, take a hike. We don't have to pay you because we are a sovereign government entity.
wow. Um, so
There has
is it
there there has been protests. There's been all kinds of stuff. People are putting their signs in their yards that say "Pay RJ."
wow? So is it what kind of work was he doing for the school? Was it
He
construction? Was it
Yeah, it was construction work. I think he was overhauling some kind of stuff that had to do with the air and stuff in the classrooms while the COVID was
um
going on. And they patted him on the back. They told him what a great job he did, everything else. But we're not going to pay you.
I'm curious if the insurance company is through TASB
I
or
don't
TASA.
know. I don't know. But what I want to find out is how many other people have they stiffed like that? How many other people
Right,
have they treated like that? And are there other school boards doing that?
right.
I
That,
do
that
believe that would be something good to know because, a lot of times people don't have the money to fight these people.
no, well, and that's the thing. That's why a lot of people don't push back because our tax dollars pay for TASAs, and TASA has attorneys that are paid for with our tax dollars to fight against us.
Right, right. And this is basically what's happening. They have an attorney leading this charge. And so,
Yes.
here you go. We're going to stonewall you till you quit.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they do.
So,
And it's interesting because when I was speaking to this group the other day, we were talking about solutions. All this is bad, and you know, um, and I think part of the solution is to get funding for parents and entities to start suing and fighting them in the courts.
right,
Um, and but it can't be a one or two thing. It has to be a class action lawsuit. It has to be big. It's got to be a coordinated effort of lawsuits in school districts throughout the state.
right,
Um, it has to be a coordinated effort to be big enough to push back.
right.
And that's there. I know there are people working on that, so that's a real blessing.
Yeah. And I hope RJ's listening to him tonight, listening to us tonight, because I did tell him we were going to be talking about him a little bit, and so
Good. Yes,
yeah,
I want to know more info. I'm going to reach out or let him know I want to know some more information about that.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, we do plan a meeting with him, and we'll see how we can help. Now, he did
right.
tell me this morning that there has been some movement, so we'll see what it is the school board does. Maybe they don't like the attention they've been getting because of this. You know how that
Yes.
works.
Yes.
I mean, they've got already enough bad publicity nationwide, much
Right.
less much less here in Arlington.
Right. Right. Oh wow. I'm gonna
Because
keep.
I will tell you, Alice, we will go after them. My group,
Yes. Yes.
we will
That's
go
great.
after them. We fear no politicians, no school boards, none of them, none of them.
Yes.
And we've gotten people tossed out of office. Yes, we have.
Yeah. That's
So
outstanding.
yeah,
So,
we're working on a
so
couple right now.
I was just gonna say, I'm thinking maybe Abbott needs to go.
We've said that also. Especially now,
Yes.
Alice. Especially now, Alice. And of course, we're getting away from the schools, but this is the way it works. Especially right now, when he's saying he's going to stop people at the border, when there's 4,000 and counting headed at us right now. So,
Right.
and so he
Well,
builds
and it
4 miles
does
of yeah. He builds
Yeah,
4 miles of fence.
Yeah,
That ain't going to
I
get
heard
it.
him say they're going to use box trailers, like line up box trailers on the border to
I
push
would be
back.
I would be sending a message to them, and I've suggested it to the governor. Call them and get hold of them. Tell them the leaders of that caravan to take them to California.
Yeah.
You're not crossing here. You're not crossing here.
Yeah.
Send them up to San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have a feeling there's going to be a real big confrontation down there. It's the way it's
Yeah.
looking. The way it's looking.
I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
you're right. It's,
And if we have video, let me say this: if we have video of them just walking past DPS troopers, of them just walking past National Guard, of them just walking past and on into the country, I think Abbott is toast.
yeah. We've got, and I know that video can be had.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it.
yeah. We've got a
Um,
chapter.
and
We got a chapter out in West Texas that's watching all this.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Uh,
You guys
but
are awesome.
hey, you are a treasure of information.
Oh,
You really are, and I want to invite you back anytime you want, or if you have some news, something you want to get out there, let us know about. You're
great.
welcome back
I would
anytime.
like to come. I would like to come back maybe after Thanksgiving, after this State Board of Education meeting, and let you guys know what instructional materials they approve, or if we're successful in blocking it.
Uh-huh.
Because it would, I don't know, did you see that video? I think it's in Katy, in the Houston area, but they were having all kinds of fighting in the schools and just bad stuff happening. And so this guy started this group of dads
Oh, I
men
did see that.
that
Yeah,
just go in the hallways, they greet them when they come in the school, and they're just there.
yeah,
And I think that there might be some opportunity for your groups to maybe surround some schools and protect them.
yeah. Well, I mean, and we're also all about going and sitting in the classroom.
Yes,
I would love to do
exactly.
that.
Yes,
I,
that I think that would be a really great, it's funny because I was telling this innovation director, we were talking about social emotional learning, and I said, we emotional learning in the classroom. It came from caring, parents caring, coaches, people who were, influential in your life growing up,
Right.
who were mentors, who had stories to tell, uh, and that's where true social and emotional learning should come from,
Right.
not from some program that a school district pays millions of dollars to implement that's online digital.
Right.
That's so my point is, after Thanksgiving, I'd love to come back and see
Well,
how we can all work together.
we'd love to have you. And, you know, I look forward to that. And,
Great.
let's not be strangers. I know
Right.
I know that I told you it's been quite a while since we've seen each other. And let me
Yes.
tell you, you're looking great as always.
Thank
You're a
you.
super
Thank
mom,
you.
that's for sure. And
Oh,
yeah, we have guys on the chat lines and stuff that are talking to each other. That you know what? We're a happy lot, and bikers are not what they're described as by law enforcement. Now we're not anti-law enforcement, but we have problems with corrupt law enforcement, just like
yes.
you do with just like you do with every other group. And
Right.
what 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 bikers are is basically a reflection of the rest of our society, and that's the truth of it.
Right.
There's
Right.
there's some good everywhere, and there's a little bit of bad everywhere too, in
Right.
every organizations, including law enforcement.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we'll sit down and talk about it sometime. I can give you an earful.
Great. That sounds good. Sounds
Okay,
good. Well,
Alex.
thank you for having me on. It was fun, and I look forward to doing it again.
Okay, Alice. Have a great day, and we'll catch you later. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Okay, here we go. Let me switch around here in the cube. You know, I'm going to have to go back and play that again because that was a lot of information. And what I would ask you guys to do is share that video to as many moms and dads as you can, and we're going to push it out there. We'll boost it. We'll boost that post. And I learned a lot there. I really did, about what's going on in our schools in Texas. And this is across the nation, too. It's not just Texas. It's not just Texas. I'm going to have to listen to that podcast again, take some notes so I know what's going on. And what we've got to do is figure out what to do with it and jump on this wave that's going across the country over school boards. And we've got to take back control of our schools. Terry McAuliffe is wrong when he claims that parents shouldn't be involved in the curriculums that the schools push out there to the students. And now we're seeing why. And we're going to have to take this stuff away from the super rich, like Bill Gates, like Zuckerberg, and their wives. They've got their fingers stuck in everything, and they're trying to take control of our lives. We cannot let this happen. We've got to fight back. In the years ahead, everybody, you're going to need to be able to tell your children, your grandchildren, that you fought back, that you didn't just sit on the sidelines. It's time to let them know, that we've had it. We're not going to take any more of the lying. We're not going to take any more of the indoctrination. We're not going to take any more of the Communist Manifesto that's being implemented. And please, get out there, do something, say something, call somebody, do everything that you can do, no matter what your status is, no matter what party you're in, no matter what group you belong to. We've got to fight back, because when the collapse comes, and that's what they're trying to do, you'll be thinking about this time. And this next election cycle, and hopefully the Virginia election, governor election, is on the up and up. That there's no hanky-panky going on. And this government that we have, this two-party system, has delivered what we're seeing today. We, the people, have got to take action against all the elites, no matter what party, that want to control us, that want to be involved in every part of our lives, and including our banking. They need to butt out. They need to stop the crap. And this Attorney General Garner needs to resign now. Milley needs to resign now. Biden needs to resign now. Kamala Harris needs to resign now. Chuck Schumer needs to resign now. Nancy Pelosi needs to resign now. And the turtle man, Mitch McConnell, he needs to resign now. The list runs on and on and on of the people that have delivered us this mess we now have. And it wasn't Donald Trump. We had gotten away from depending on foreign oil. We were an oil exporter. We were doing well. We've seen what a great economy looks like, and this ain't it. And this ain't going to get it, and it's not going to deliver it. Not at all. It's not going to deliver it. Now, I'll be back on in a few days, and let me tell you, I'll try and get OG in here, and we will tear Fauci a new ass. Is what we will do. Fauci needs to resign now. And we'll also talk about some of our members that have caught the COVID, and from what I understand, they're struggling. We'll talk about that too. We will give you the truth. We will give you the truth. The truth as we can find it. And there's a lot of lying going on out there. And are you sick of it yet? Are you sick of it? And are you sick of the behavior of our politicians? Are you sick of the behavior of these rich bastards out there that are trying to manipulate everybody? Are you sick of it? Doesn't matter what party you're in, what color, are you sick of it? Are you sick of empty promises? That's what I'm talking about, everybody. Are you sick of it? I would have thought we would have been sick of it long before now. I expected us to be in the streets by now, and it's not happening. You have to get involved. And I'll show you the way when I call Cornyn's office, when I call our senator's office, and I will tell them, hey, hold the line. Hold the line. Don't give in 1 ounce. 1 ounce. And go after Mitch McConnell for not holding the line, for not being strong. Make the Democrats own it. Make the Democrats own it. All of it. Don't give them an out. Don't give up an ounce. With that, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the program, and please pass this on to all parents and everybody that they should know what's going on in the classrooms and what's happening to our education system and who's doing it. With that, everybody, have a great evening. You guys on the chat line, I see right there, there's Napa, Dooley, Randy Russell, Lisa Lee, and let me see, Jerry, yep, I see you there, yep. Chuck Bayless, how you doing, buddy? So yeah, David Garcia, wow, you guys, you're wonderful, we love you, and we will catch you down the line. Watch for our next podcast. Bye-bye.